It will be a disaster if William Samoei Ruto is elected as a president in 2027. These are not my words, but the former Chief Justice David Maraga. Listen to him.
You know what is going on? You have read the Nation today. The Riron Mau Summit Road. During the time of President Kenyatta, a French company had been contracted to construct that road for about 159.27 billion. As soon as Ruto came to power, he revoked that contract and gave it to a Chinese company at a cost of 192.6 billion. An extra 33.3 billion shillings. That's not all. This Chinese company is the same company which has been carrying out road construction in Ethiopia. Here in Kenya, it is costing the Kenyan people 1 million shillings per meter. But in Ethiopia, it is not costing even 100,000 shillings per meter. So it is very, very costly. These grand projects, these mega projects that Ruto is pushing so hard, including the affordable housing units, are for the purposes of looting public resources, and they are being looted in large sums of money. That's what we are condemning. That's what we want to Kenyans to know, that we cannot afford to have him go on. In fact, it would be a disaster if Ruto is re-elected as president of this country. You have seen how, he sold shares in Safaricom, one of the most profitable companies in the region. Recently, we saw in the media, Safaricom made a profit of 100 billion shillings. That is not a company you sell shares in. Why not sell these shares from these other parastatals which were not making profit? Yeah? He sells Kenya Pipeline. How do you sell a company, a corporation that is handling energy in your country? Now he is talking about taking a refinery to Tanga. I was shocked. I was shocked to see that he's talking of a refinery in Tanga, which the Tanzanian government doesn't know anything about. He's lying to Kenyans, and he is now even lying to Tanzanians. It's shocking how we can have a president who is doing that.
Well, I would actually concur with David Maraga if he says it will be a disaster if William Samoei Ruto is elected as a president in 2027, because all the schemes, all the systems that Ruto's regime has employed is about siphoning money from this regime. It's about taking money from public coffers. It's about taking money from public parastatals and corporations to his own advantage. What do I mean? Listen to what Maraga said. Mau Rironi Summit Road, that the initial contractor was to do it 154 point something billion. Now Ruto revoked the contract of the company that was constructing it and gave it to another company that is doing it 192 billion shillings, an increment of approximately 33 billion shillings. If anything, who is doing justice to the people of Kenya, because it is the taxpayers' money that is going to fund that project? Well, you might say he could be using loans from the IMF and World Bank. But at the end of the day, who is going to pay those loans? Because remember, they are not grants. It is you, the common mwananchi. A company that is making profits so much like Safaricom, you just decide you want to sell its shares. Kenya Pipeline, you also want to sell its shares. And these are the companies that are controlling huge profits in the nation. Recently, we saw this bill that was passed by the president, the national infrastructure. Now it is into a law. It allows the president to handle those funds without the interference of the Auditor General. In fact, the Auditor General will not know how much is getting into that kitty and how much is leaving that kitty. Then you are telling us to re-elect such a president. And the most painful thing is when we tell you it is people like Maraga that this country needs as a president, you will be the very first persons to not agree with me. I mean, Kenyans, for how long do we want to live under oppression? For how long do we want to live in a system that does not work for the benefit of the common mwananchi? And how long do you want to keep complaining? I keep saying the education system has already been messed up. The health system is not working. Just recently, we saw teachers threatening to go on strike as they had a raw deal in SHA, which actually wasn't helping them. How many of you go to hospitals and they cannot receive medication? And you know, the moment you are saying you want to re-elect President William Samoei Ruto back to office, when there is increment in commodity prices, it will also affect you. When the economy is tough, there is no circulation of income. There is no circulation of money within the economy. It is going also to affect you directly. It's not like because you are supporting this person that your life is going to be much better than those who are opposing this regime. And these are the issues that you want to debunk. A president who is so perennial in lying. Last time I said that he has become a pathological liar, which now seems to be a medical condition that needs to be checked. Yes, most of you went online ranting about this, but it is just the reality. How does a president, a commander-in-chief of the armed forces, export lies to a neighboring country in Tanzania, saying that they are launching an oil refinery in Tanga region in Tanzania, which not even the Tanzanian government is aware of? This is the kind of person whom you want to re-elect. Truly, it will be a disaster. Monies have been lost from the treasury to the tunes of billions. Yes, everything or every project that we see this government launching, there is a dark side of it. Be it the affordable housing units, there is a dark side of it. Who are the suppliers of the materials? Which companies are handling the construction? Now, you will ask me, like Maraga says, in other countries where the same companies tasked with construction of roads, whatever they charge per meter of road construction is less than 100,000 Kenyan shillings. Yet in Kenya, it is to the tunes of millions. Not long ago, Ruto said that there is a 60-kilometer road that he's actually dedicated over 60 billion or 6 billion. When you do it, when you divide that by 60, you'll realize it will be 66.7 million per kilometer. Now, how realistic is this? Yet, we have people who are saying this is the person whom we want to re-elect. Fine, let me take a diversion a little bit. We have the Linda Mwananchi Front, Edwin Sifuna, Babu Owino, James Agribub Orengo, Godfrey Osotsi, and the likes. In the other hand, we have the United Opposition Front, Rigathi Gachagua, Fred Matiang'i, Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Justin Muturi, Martha Karua, Now, if you limit people like Sifuna from cooperating with other like-minded persons to dethrone William Samoei Ruto, what do you really want? Because if, let's say, David Maraga runs on his own as a presidential candidate, Rigathi Gachagua as a presidential candidate, Fred Matiang'i as a presidential candidate, we have people who prefer them. They will vote for them. But at the end of the day, these votes are going to be scattered. And it is the divide and rule tactic that Ruto is working hard day and night to make sure that it succeeds. Therefore, I would join George Natembeya, who recently said, for once, let us have the will of the people take shape. Let us have not the interest of the leaders take shape. Let the people's voice this time speak. Let all these persons who want presidency unite together and give out a single candidate who is going to vie against Ruto, and we have a majority of Kenyans backing them up. Unfortunately, we have people who are giving conditions. If so and so gets to join with so and so, we are not supporting him. I mean, if, for instance, those who did support Raila Amolo Odinga, who went to length and worked with the people who were considered to be their greatest enemies, back then, Raila Amolo Odinga and Mwai Kibaki worked together. Nobody knew they would work together. Raila Odinga and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta worked together. Nobody believed that a handshake would work between Raila and Uhuru. Again, we saw the broad-based government between Raila Amolo Odinga and William Samoei Ruto. Nobody ever thought that would happen. Yet, it happened. So, what is it a big deal if the Linda Mwananchi Front comes together with Rigathi Gachagua and they decide to make sure that the era of oppression, state-sanctioned abduction, extrajudicial killings, and stealing of public funds from the public coffers is put to an end. We should be wise in the decisions that we are making. I don't know, what's your take on this? Give me that in the comment section. Now, if you're watching these from our YouTube channel and you love content of this nature, kindly press the notification button, and anytime that we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Halif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dub Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dub Radio ndio mpango mzima.